Let's dig deeper on this with CNN contributor John Dean, former White House counsel to Richard Nixon. John, what do you think of all this? Nixon tried and failed to shield himself from being held accountable. Trump's trying to do something similar. What's your sense of how this might play out?
Well, we never got that far with Nixon, of course, because he was never indicted. Although they drafted one, it never appeared publicly. It was in the prosecutor's office. But here we have a public indictment, and it's very clear he faces criminal liability. His effort to have absolute immunity was baseless. It was arguments. He relied on a clause in the Constitution that relates to impeachment that he tried to put a spin on that nobody's ever done before. No president has ever been indicted before. So that was one of his problems. But the judge, Judge Chutkan, wrote really a magisterial type opinion. She knew this was going to be reviewed, probably by the Court of Appeals first, and then by the Supreme Court ultimately. So this is a historic writing she engaged in, and it's well done. I don't think it's reversible.
And I was going to say, how do you see this playing out if this goes all the way to the Supreme Court? Do you think it will go to the Supreme Court?
The question on the court is, of course, Trump's tactic is to try to delay. I don't think she's given him much room to delay. To delay, they have to get a stay from the Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia that says, hey, you got to halt the criminal trial. I think this case, the opinion is strong enough that they might deny his effort to get a stay, and discovery will go on in the case, the proceedings will go on, and so it will not tie, it won't stop it, it won't tie the case up as it goes forward on the appellate process. A president any defendant is entitled on a fundamental issue like immunity to actually go to appeal and see if indeed that is the case. I think it'll be expedited in this case as well.
Yeah, I mean, what about this concept of presidential immunity? I mean, it sounds the way Trump is throwing it around. It's almost echoing Nixon and that old expression, when the president does it, it is not illegal. What is your sense of it, John?
Well, there is no basis in law for criminal immunity. There is a case called Nixon versus Fitzgerald that they try to draw on where there is civil immunity. When a president is carrying out his functions in office and he is indeed engaging in decision-making relating to the presidency, there is a civil immunity. Trump tried to spin that out to make it apply in a criminal context. It doesn't. It doesn't also apply in a civil context for Trump because they said his behavior at the Court of Appeals, at least based on the information that was before them at this time, shows he wasn't engaged in presidential conduct. He was engaged in political conduct, in trying to hang on to an office when he'd lost the election.
And from Georgia to D.C. to New York, Trump's legal team, they're trying to push this, as you were alluding to this earlier, this tactic of delay, delay, delay. One would have to think all of the judges, I mean, Judge Tanya Chutkan seems to be aware of this. All the judges seem to be aware that this is going on. But do you think Trump might be able to pull this off, that his lawyers might be able to pull this off, simply because of the way our legal process works? Because you have the right to appeal things and take things to a higher court, and there are some weighty issues at play here. Could Trump pull it off?
It's possible. It's not, I can't say that it would be impossible, but the fact that Judge Chutkan has written such a really strong opinion gives the court every reason to let the criminal trial proceed in its sort of mechanical discovery and other phases, deciding on what can be admitted into evidence and motions and what have you. I'll get all that sorted out while they're looking at this appellate issue, which I think they're going to just affirm her judgment. And the question is, will the conservatives on the Supreme Court play this politically and tie it up and drag it out? That's where the worry should be.